Hello there. Happy Money Monday and welcome to this week's video newsletter. I am just coming off of a crazy weekend. So this past Saturday and Sunday, I was at a local event called the Inspired Life event. It was a women's weekend with tons of workshops going on, and I had a booth in the exhibitor hall or the Divine Marketplace. And I don't do a lot of in-person events like this in my business. A lot of my work is online, so it was a really different experience to get to be in person and to come up with a booth and to get to connect with people. And I record these newsletters early, so this will be a week ago by the time you see it. But I just got back home yesterday. It was a full, busy, fun weekend, and it was a weekend with a lot of learnings. And I would love to share some of those learnings with you in this short newsletter. One thing that I noticed right away was managing my own expectations. And this is really funny because I actually recorded a podcast episode on this a little while ago. It was episode 49, the expectation roller coaster on the Empowered and Abundant podcast. So if you haven't listened to that one, that one's a good one. Go ahead and listen to it because I had my own moment this past weekend where I was on the expectation roller coaster, but instead of like flowing into it, I noticed it. So I didn't really know what to expect going into this event, but one thing was that it was going to be huge, like 300 people. And I imagined lots of people walking around the whole entire time, but also the way that these events are set up is there's a bunch of workshops going on. And so most of the time people are in workshops, and then in between workshops and things like that, that's where they come through the booths and come and connect with people. And I noticed early on my brain just, being there, standing at the booth, people not coming through like constantly, not having a line out the door, and then occasionally having people come by and interacting with us at the booth. And I'm going to tell you what our booth was too. It's going to be fun. And I noticed my brain being like, oh, like my expectations are totally inaccurate. And now I could see my brain go on this whole downward spiral of my location is in a bad place, or there's not that many people, and this opportunity isn't as good as I thought it was going to be, et cetera, and how that mindset and how that perspective could affect my emotions and affect how I show up for the entire weekend. So I noticed this start to happen, and I'm so grateful that I noticed it because it's so possible that in the past, this expectation roller coaster moment would have happened. I wouldn't notice that it's happening, and then I would just go with it. And my mindset, my emotions would just slip into that. But instead, I noticed that part of my brain coming up and being like, whoa, this isn't what I expected, and therefore it means X, Y, and Z. And instead I was like, being in this mindset, being in this perspective, being in this energy is not going to serve me and is not going to help me make the most out of this experience. And just because my expectations were different, doesn't mean this is bad or negative or wrong, which is often what our brains go to. It's like, oh, because this doesn't meet my expectations, now this is a problem. Now this is a bad thing. And so I'm glad I noticed it. And then I spent a lot of time thinking about, okay, why is this actually the best case scenario? Like now, because there's not tons and tons of people here and a line out the door from my booth, now I get to connect with every single person that comes by my booth. And I get to have a solid one-on-one conversation with them with no rush, and I can totally take my time. Now I can take the time to walk away from my booth and go chat with other people there, other amazing business owners, and make better connections and have conversations with them, which is so valuable. And I shifted my whole mindset and my perspective to see this is an opportunity of quality over quantity. And that is actually even a better case scenario. And I'm so grateful I recognized this and took the intentional time to shift into this perspective because it completely changed the energy that I got to bring forward to this event. I got to be excited to be there. I got to be excited for whatever it was. I got to bring so much value forward in my booth, in every conversation. And then I got to give a talk at the end of the second day. And again, because I had already done this work and had no expectations, I got to deliver such a powerful talk and workshop for those people who did attend live. And it was also really interesting because it was such a metaphor for like business as well, too. So like even online business, I can see this translating. So I'm standing at my booth and I have a fun interactive thing going on, which is helping people uncover their money blocks. I created a whole banner with like a woman with the 7 chakras, and each of the 7 chakras, I created a related money block to it. And I had these cards that I made. Oh, there's 7 cards, one for each chakra connected to a specific money block. And then on this card, there's good information about that money block, a practice to work through that money block and step into deeper abundance, plus a powerful affirmation. So I had this great concept for this booth, and it was super engaging and totally free. And yet people were walking by my booth and like kind of glancing over, but just keep walking as if they had somewhere to go. And I'm standing there and I'm noticing, wow, even if I'm offering this great free thing that I think is super valuable, the other people don't really know that if they're just walking by, even if it seems obvious to me. And so how do I get to show up here to deliver the value as powerfully as possible? And so as people were walking by, if they would glance over, I like smiled and said hi to everybody, whether they were someone else with a booth, whether I already talked to them, like just engaging and interacting with every single person that passed by. And when people would pass by, they'd be like past my booth and kind of glancing back, and I'd be like, hey, want to do a free money reading? And people would be like, oh, okay, yeah. And then they would come over. And so this is just such a great metaphor for business and life and entrepreneurship. Often we can make things mean things about us. When people don't interact with our stuff, when people don't engage with us, like, what am I doing wrong? People don't want this. That's what we make it mean. Or we take these scenarios where it's not ideal or not our expectations, and we surrender over to it and we say, oh, well, that's why this, like, it didn't work, or this why I failed, versus saying, how can this be the best case scenario? And how can I show up in this reality, in this scenario, to deliver powerfully, to show up powerfully, to serve powerfully, to call people in, to invite people in. And I got to experience this in person in such a powerful way that now, like, I gained so much lessons from this and learnings that I get to take this to my perspective in my online business as well. If people aren't engaging, like, that's okay. How can you powerfully call people in? If you're running an online workshop and not that many sign up, why would you let that change how you show up to that? How can you show up so powerfully for every single person that is there, that you are engaging with, that you are interacting with? So these are some lessons that I'm taking away with me from this powerful weekend. A few other fun things. I bought this gorgeous, incredible necklace, which is moss agate. That was really magical. This woman, Lisa, handmade it. It's gorgeous. And I bought this really cute plant from this local woman near me who sells these gorgeous plants. I think it's called like a ZZ. That might be totally wrong, but this is my new, it's going to live here for now. So you'll see this plant in the background. And for fun, since maybe you didn't get to be there live, hello, it's good to see you. I'd love to pull a collective card for you. Like I said, there's one for each chakra. Each chakra is connected to a money block or an opportunity for more abundance. Each card can show up differently for different people wherever you are in your journey. There's always deepening opportunities for more abundance. So we're going to see what comes through for the newsletter collective today, and just trust that whatever it is exactly what you need to hear. And there's some amount of value that you can take away from this. So let's see. I think this is going to be backwards, so you're not really going to see it anyway. But anyway, here is the card. Wow. So we have the solar plexus, and I'm going to read it to you since I don't think you can read it for yourself. The solar plexus, the common money block is I feel like money has control over my life. How does that resonate? When you hear that statement, I feel like money has control over my life. How true does that feel? How accurate does that feel for you? This is super common. This can show up in so many different ways for lots of different people, especially if you're an entrepreneur. I'm going to read what the card says. It says, we may often feel powerless when it comes to money, but the truth is you always have a choice. Whether you notice it or not, you are making decisions with money every day. Here's the abundance practice that you can start to do right now, super simple, to already shift or continue to deepen out of this specific money block. When making a money choice, big or small, pause and ask, why am I saying yes or no? What are my money choices based off of? Breathe and affirm, I am in charge of my money. Okay, so that's the money wisdom that wants to come through for you today. I'm curious how that resonates. You can share with me. You can reply to this email or comment in the YouTube video and let me know how that resonates with you. Okay, that's all I have for you this Money Monday. Thanks for tuning in to this video newsletter, and I will see you next week.